and accordingly we are able to look upon the activities. And for this reason it is very important sound knowledge of market, it should be there with you. So according to the market we should design our organizational plan, our organizational structure already told given the region. Let's say uh, just I mean the couple of days I have been in Himachal Pradesh. Yeah, just today I have been in another location in Himachal Pradesh for some official work. So that is hilly region. Thing as such as a plain region itself in our plain region it's well so financial resources are very important in designing a organizational master plan. So accordingly, we set up the organizational structures given our financing, that what finances we are having in our hands. So we need to look upon the organizational structure basically, given our limitation and given our resources and competencies. So we should look upon that how many people are needed within the organization and what kind of capabilities and skills they should have. And do we have the financial resources again to meet up the resources? Then we need to be specific on the key activities of the organization, that what are the activities we need to act upon in the organization in order to successfully run the business activity of the organization, in order to successfully operate the key activities such as to let the organization survive and successfully operate within the market. And we need to look upon that skills, attitudes, and the skill necessity. Since in any region we have a limitation, that kind of people attitude who are available as labor, kind of people attitude who are there as a customer segment, kind of skills we are having in our employees, kind of skills that are necessary to be updated within our employees in order to get acknowledged as a successful organization in the region with the best and efficient product quality and service quality. And we should have a good command on relationship and dependence. So accordingly, within an organization, it is very important to plan on personal policies on how to recruit, select, and remunerate accordingly. I'll come to the policy part later upon, but first I'll discuss that how we manage the business from a master plan. It's okay, we have a master plan that what should be our policy, what number of people are there, what are the resources over there, what are the rules and regulation. We had a master plans, but how we should manage it. I'll take an example of that although corporations they spend approximately $300 billion per year on training, but permanent change it only occur when organization infrastructure it somehow have some modification, it somehow have some entrenchment, and they demand the high leadership behavior. Not only budget can sort up the thing, but the leadership behavior it matters a lot. The way the leadership behavior is, the way we have the results within our organization, that people are there to look upon the organizational success. The research it shows that only about 10 to 20% of knowledge gained from training actually transfer to the job. We theoretically give some training, but it doesn't come into the job itself. Only say 10 or 20%. What it is all about? We are spending 100% on employee training, but they are only able to apply 10 or 20% of that gain knowledge. And the challenges and the opportunity key challenge and the opportunity that here is to translate the knowledge and skills into practices that actually improve the organizational performance. So, well, for managing that business plan to be implemented, uh, the organization focus all the leaders on a shared definition that all the leaders should have a good behavior, and a benchmarking of the behavior should be there. There should be a forum for feedback between leaders and their employees. When there's interaction and idea exchange is there, then we can say that master plan is being effectively handled upon. Yeah, there's another guideline to ensure both the development effectiveness of leader. That is to manage the business from a master plan only. This seems to be simple, but it is very hard. That managers and supervisors they readily admit that they are they face very hard. They are in fighting mode, reacting to the demand of model rather than acting from a predetermined agenda. Rules are not applicable everywhere. In the practical definition, we can't say every day we have a lot of technical glitches, every day we have a lot of transition, every day we have to face a lot of things. So protocol is like that one should go with the formal things, one should go with the formal presentation, one should go with formal documentation, but all the time it is not feasible. So we go for the good much option we have, and accordingly we come up with the organizational plan being implemented as much it can be. But a lack of master plan it results in a very vicious cycle from where escape is very difficult. We don't have any guiding principle. The less people plan, the more atmosphere of chaos and urgency it is there, and more urgency and chaos, the more difficult to take time to plan, and the consequence that organization face a lot of clashes, and there are lot of organizational problems, and many factors do contribute to this chaos, but the most important is the lack of planning, the perception, and we just don't have the time simply. So we should have an organizational master plan in prior, and we should manage efficiently to apply it as much as we can. Where if that vector cycle is there, so its consequences like that leaders they are overly involved in day-to-day affairs and to micromanage. This practice it demoralize employees and it somehow causes the employees to conclude that they are neither trusted or not able to make the difference in the organization. So somehow it is a wholesome no trust situation within the organization in the lack of some organization formal plan. By managing from a plan, leaders should pay attention to the big picture instead of focusing on each and every aspect. But the big picture should be followed, and it should be looked upon that what matters the most. Yeah, uh, they should borrow from this phrase of Edward Deming: on system, not in systems. Thereby, gradually eliminate the root cause of problems. They should focus upon the root causes instead of focusing upon each and everything. And doing this requires interpersonal planning and organizational skills are there. There are a few steps while developing a plan. First of all, we should step one. We should identify critical success factors. That what are the key factors that should be there in business in order to let the business go successful. And these CSF they should be manageable. The list should be this critical successful sector should not be more than 8 items. They can be 2 or 4 items, but not be more than 8 items. They should be manageable. That how they can be executed upon, and these should be identified first of all. Then we should identify major action initiative. That what are the key action to at least impact upon that critical success factor in a positive sense that we are able to address our organizational goals. And next, we need to look upon that what should be the sequence of that action initiative. We have taken some action, we have taken some initiative, but what is the sequence? That what is the result of those initiatives? And then we are able to complete a simple action matrix that we take some reaction, and accordingly we modify our action, and again there's some reaction, and we keep on looking upon, and accordingly we are there with the final plan. We take some steps what things we need to take let's say organizational objectives. We should clarify that what are the key parameters, how we are going to measure those things, and it should not be to write as the way it can be. There should be specific parameters how that leaders and then the superiors they are going to manage that project lying within the particular parameters that should be met in order to have a successful organizational plan. We should commission some project teams, as I already told that for different functions and accordingly we are able to look upon the things. So there are a lot of things to be considered, there are a lot of methods to be organized for our organizational plans. But the core thing is regarding that we should follow some of the key principles. We should look upon the key success factor. We should look upon the action initiatives, and accordingly, we are able to come up with the things as a successful organizational master plan. It's okay that we make our organizational plan, we execute it actively, we manage it, but managing it, we should have some organizational policies, a set of organizational policies that help the organization to run efficiently. So these are organizational policies, procedures, standards, and guidelines that facilitate to specifically address a function. The policy designed efficiently, it helps to identify risk, and it do helps to mitigate the risk within the organization. We are effectively able to understand the things. The policies or procedure are the most eminent thing to be looked upon when we let the employee understand the organizational view and value. These are some written documentation or written rules things are already there within the organization, which can help to understand more about the organization. Well, when we look upon the policy, what is this policy all about? At the end, see, all the employees they must identify themselves with the two-factor identification process. They should use identity card and biometric finger. So this way, there are some policies within the organization regarding the employee policy, regarding the marketing, regarding the sales, regarding the customer handling, and customer grievance. So that policy should be followed, and it should be as per the bylaws within the nation, within the region where that company is operating, and where the customer are being from, and they are being dealt with. Given all those legal considerations, the policy and procedure organization may have some of its internal standards. Say Ford Motors or that many business tycoons in India, they have their own standards to operate their organization above the law, and even those standards have been successfully recognized by different organizations across globe or different schools of academia as the key aspects to be focused while managing an organization. So those organizations they do can have some symbol mark left within the organization. But the next topic is there regarding that organizational budget, and it's very hurry up to discuss upon all the things. First of all, I would like to ask the student that whether they are having some question regarding the organizational master plan or its implementation. So you may ask the question, then I'll move to the policies. Yeah, students, you are having some question on organizational master plan. No you have understood nothing, students. So it's better to ask. I can repeat the things. Instead, we just let the things go away. There's no question. So I'm asking for the next thing. Either you are having any question regarding the organizational procedures and policies. Any question? I'm giving you 2 minute time to think upon.
Excuse me, sir. Listener,
Yes,
sir,
student.
how if
Yes.
all the strategies have been implemented, but there is no change in the organization?
It is the question that how they are being implemented. It is not that simply we have some written policies in the organization. Implementation is a very different thing. First of all, we need to look upon whether the policy is good enough to benefit the organization. Let's say organization needs some marketing redevelopment, but our policy is not looking on that aspect. So where our organization is being affected? Or let's say other case, the policy is good enough to benefit the organization. The policy is good enough to but if you don't operate a thing, it will not give any results. So that is very basic thing that can be told about, that the policy should maybe there, but when they exactly executed, then there are results that give some fruits in the business enterprise in terms of achieved goal and the success of the organization itself. So these are some of the important aspects regarding the organizational management and behavior. Any other question?
Yes,
Yes.
sir. I have a question.
Yes.
According to you, what kind of corporate policy is favorable?
Sorry.
According to you, what kind of corporate uh, policy
What kind
is
of
favorable?
see policies are there to tackle upon the present market threats, present market environment. Policies are only there to tackle the internal threats, tackle the internal environment, and tackle the external environment. We have policies, and to have a policy, we need to understand that when government is the nation, and again our internal requirement as well as the environment requirement, they do affect that how the policy should be there and how the future course of action should be there, given the requirement of the organization and given the requirement of the circumstances as such. I hope you were asking the same question. Yeah, Mika, I hope you were asking the same question.
I don't think so. Uh, just it. Thank you, sir. Maybe next.
Nobody else? Okay. So I am discussing that last topic of discussion of this present lecture. Yeah. These are regarding budgets. You may be aware about budgets, even in your home or whether you are planning some party. So you have some budget that you say na, that I only have this much budget. I can only afford this much. So you have some financial budget that you are only that you need to plan what sort of activities you are going to conduct. Same case apply within an organization. We need to pre-design that what should be our annual budget, what should be our long-term budget regarding to some of the activity, what is our capital, and accordingly what are our investment budget within the assets, within the other working capital management activities and other such activities within the organization. We should look upon, and accordingly our budget should be there, and we come up with the things. When we come up with the things of a pre-designed budget and it is efficiently designed, it helps a lot. manage the organization in a well-defined manner. So these are very basic definition. We can come up with different definition of budgets, but we commonly focus upon the main types of budgets or budgeting methods that are there within the organization. So within the organization, we have four common types of budget that companies use. So these are key formats such as first one is the incremental, then is the activity based, then the value proposition, and then the zero based. Another other method of financing budget, it could be the production budget, or it could be the wholesome master budget. But that is nothing that simply states that for what much activities we are level of financing available. But these sort of budget that I told you now, this is the most latest one and most efficient one to organize and manage the organizational activities in a efficient manner. So I'll discuss in detail these budget instead of that activity-based budget that are simply understood that for a particular activity, what much funds you are having and how you are utilizing. It is simply regarding the acquaintance and then the application of the funds for the particular activity. But the different set of budget, that is first one is the incremental budgeting. So in incremental budgeting, it is a method of budgeting. So we take last year actual figures and add or subtract a percentage to obtain the current year budget. Let's say we prosper that in the next year our sales will grow up by 20%. So our sales budget will somehow will also grow by 15 or 20%, giving the ratio of sales to investment. So accordingly, using this method, we are taking the last year actual figures and simply add a percentage of our expected change within the value of that particular activity. And it is the most common method of budgeting because it is simple, it is easy to understand. Incremental budgeting, it is appropriate to use if the primary cost driver do not change from year to year. They are fixed. Let's say production, that is a fixed number. In sales as well, most of the cases, it is a fixed number. But problem come when the figure is fluctuating. For some of the seasonal businesses, figure is not always stable. And bearing some of the market glitches, figure is not stable always. There may be a lot of fluctuation within the organizational activity. And for such activity, this incremental budgeting is not advisable. Other sort of budgeting is there. So there are few problems with this incremental budgeting that we may perpetuate some of the inefficiency. So it is likely to we result in some budgetary slags. And we are likely to ignore external drivers of activities and performance. Sometimes manager inside may be correct. Sometimes it may not be efficient. So accordingly, we plan upon that what should be our future course of action. Sometime manager inside may be correct, sometime it may not be correct. So accordingly, other way of budgeting that is more efficient, that is activity budgeting, activity based budgeting. So activity based budgeting is a top down budgeting approach, and it determines the amount of input required to support the target or output set by the company. So practically we look upon that what are the relationship between in between the input and output, and accordingly we plan upon that what should be our budget. If we target that our output should be of $100 million in revenues, then company need to first determine the activities that need to be undertaken to meet the sales target, and then we find out the cost of carrying out these activities. So that is a very efficient and very good method, especially when the figures are fluctuating, when we are not considering that what should be our future course of action, what should be our future pathway given the circumstance. This do have some of the limitation that all time it may not be efficient. So we have another method that is regarding the value proposition budgeting. In the value proposition budgeting, the budgeter he considers the following questions. Yeah. The question regarding that what is this amount included in the budget? That what are the funds simply we are having with? So it should be the amount. Then does the item it create value for customers, staff, or other stakeholders? We are having some expense, and in this no expense should be just a waste of money or waste of time. All expense should give some of the return. This return can be in form of some material thing or some non-material motor, but there should be some value creation for customers, for staff, or for other stakeholders. So we have some budget for a particular expense, and we need to look upon this value of item it outweigh cost. Let's say we are expending 10 rupees upon particular thing, then we should have some return, let's say 12 or 15 rupees in monetarily term. Or otherwise, let's say we are having some employee welfare budget. In that case, we may look some result that our sales or organizational efficiency is somehow increasing, and the efficiency increase is much more than that of the welfare budget we undertook. Although this kind of budgeting is not precisely aimed at the goals of our final budgeting, but sometimes for the particular promotional activity, we are not able to have some considerate exact influencing of the things. We can go for this sort of budgeting. Another budgeting that is also efficient manner, that is zero based budgeting. It is the most commonly used budgeting method, and it starts with the assumption that all department budgets are zero and they must be rebuilt from scratch. We only go for scratch. We don't look that we have anything. So managers they must be able to uh, justify every single expense that why they are having their that expense. No expenditures they are automatically considered. It's very tight to have that kind of budgeting. It aims at to avoid any or all expenditure that are not considered absolutely essential. Only essential expenses they are undertaken, not each and all. And those who are essential to complete successful operation, they are taken. These kind of bottom up budgeting can be highly effective way to shake things up, to take the organization upside. And the organization facing most of the challenges, we go for this kind of budgeting that only necessary expenses are being taken. So zero-based budgeting approach, it is good to use when there is a need for cost containment in case situation where company is going through a financial restructuring, as I already told, or a major economic or market downturn that I already quoted upon. When we require to reduce budget dramatically, so zero-based budgeting is the best suited for addressing discretionary costs rather than essential operating costs. So where we are having some discretion that whether we do cost or do not cost, we can go for these things. Otherwise, for some essential operating costs, we can't refer to these things. Where we have to operate, we have to expand. So we can't go for zero-based budgeting in those cases. However, it is extremely time-consuming approach since companies can't look on each and every aspect. That is the cost required and so on. But yes, zero-based budgeting is involvement, we have different aspects of budgeting, where we have first of all imposed budgeting, where it is a top-down process that top management they simply impose some budget that this much of funds are allocated to this department, this much funds are to this department, and simply the departments they have to go as per the allocation.
Ex-
They provide their views and accordingly.
Excuse me, sir. Interruption. You have a back signal, so we can hear your voice clearly. I think your signal bad.
So we come up with the negotiated budgeting that we look upon that what is the most effective way based upon the negotiation to manage the things as much as efficiently it can be. So there's more sort of
Hello, sir. Are you there? Oh my god.
so I have told you few types of budgeting and types of involvement for budgeting. So these are very few basics. If I come in more detail, then you may be confused upon that what the things are. So first of all, I would like the students to ask upon that whether they are having some doubts regarding the budgeting, whether they are having some question or concerns regarding the budgeting. Yes. Anybody having some concerns? So
Apakah
shall I
ada yang
take
ingin
it up?
bertanya, teman-teman?
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Uh, how do we develop a master plan budget regarding organizational policies, and what should be considered when preparing such a plan? Thank you, sir.
Yeah, dear student, actually you are combining a lot of things. You first need to understand that master plan is a different thing. Master plan is simply a way that we are going to manage our organization. Then policies, they are a different thing. They help to apply our master plan. We have a master plan that we have this
Hello, sir. Are you there? We can hear your voice. Yeah, gone. Okay. Mohon maaf ya teman-teman menunggu soalnya sinyalnya di sana agak susah.
Yoi.
Siap, Mik.
Ya Mik, maaf Mik.
Arban mau nanya, Mik, katanya, Mik.
Jelas lagi lah lu Madit, masa gua nggak nanya.
Hello sir, are you there?
Anybody else have a question? I have already answered to the question that was asked.
Oke, mungkin Diva bisa langsung aja nanya.
Yeah. How the relationship between strategy and organizational regulation in achieving organizational goals?
Oh, the role of organizational regulation in achieving the organizational goal. See, goals are nothing but simply we have some stated business vision that we will expand our activity in that particular strand. But there the our policies, they are very necessary. First of all, our policies, they
Sorry sir, your sound is gone.
can hear you. I can hear you, and I answered your last question regarding the relationship between the policies and the organizational goals. If policies are there to efficiently do the things, only then we are able to achieve the organizational goals. And it's all depend upon that in what manner we execute the policies. If policies are on paper, we can't, we are not able to execute efficiently. Only and only if we efficiently implement the policies, then we are able to achieve the goals of the organization. Anybody's having question? Shall I take it as closed? Nobody's asking question. I'm waiting for the next 1 or 2 minutes, or else I'm going to close upon the session. Since you have asked some of the question, nobody else is asking any question ahead. Yes.
I don't think so, sir. You may next the material.
Yeah. Actually, this was the material for the this present session. Yeah. And further, I'll share the material shortly. Okay. So if nobody is having any question, so I'll thank the UNY Faculty of Economics, all the organization, Nadia, Gujitiara, and many others who have facilitated. I also thank all the students for their patient listening and asking very good questions for the discussion aspects of the things. many times we see that within the classroom we simply that educator or the teacher, he simply shares the thing, the student don't ask questions. So I try to have a discussive mode instead of having an organized session of discussion. So discussion can happen anytime, anywhere. You can have the material at your single fingertip. But once we have discussion, once we understand the things in the simplest form we can, so we are able to catch the aspects. So same I tried. I thanks a lot to you all for your patient listening and having the fruitful interaction. So thank
You are
you.
welcome. You are welcome, Dr. Rohit. We also thank you to you for the time that you are being here to give a lecture.
If all the things are closed, so okay.
Yep. So this
Shall
is
I close down the session? Since all the aspects
I
of this.
yeah, I think this is the last class of Dr. Rohit with
Yeah.
us students.
Okay, students, and many thanks and many best wishes for your future endeavors. I wish you all the success in let all the fraternity of UNY proud of you all. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Very best wishes from India and
Yeah, thank
all the
you.
blessing from
Yeah,
India.
thank you. Yeah, you're welcome.
We
You're
will look
welcome,
for
Dr. Rohit.
You're
Thank you so
welcome,
much.
Dr. Rohit.
visit Indonesia or you people visit India. We welcome you all to our institution.
Oh,
Okay, sir.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.